So you've been estranged from a parent or parents for a number of years, and you receive a call that one of them is dying, imminently dying. What do you do? How do you feel? What's the right thing to do? So this was my experience actually 6 years ago today. I'd been estranged from my mum for 4 years, and I'd gone through in my head what I would do when I heard that she was going to die or she had died. So first of all, I was thinking I'm definitely not going to go. And then I would think again and think, well, yes, I would go. And it really, I never managed to resolve those feelings. And that's because it's so complex and nuanced. So I received the call, the initial call at midday on the 28th of August, 2019. And I was told that she would die imminently that day, and to get to the hospital as soon as possible. I didn't reach the hospital until round about 3:30 in the afternoon. And I can still remember walking into the room and seeing her. And I still felt fear, which I found extraordinary. Real fear. Not because I thought she was going to attack me, but I was so worried that she would suddenly become lucid and start hurling lots of abuse at me. And I just thought, I can't handle this. So for me, that was one of the reasons why I thought I don't want to see you at the end, because I don't want to give you the chance to, have another pop at me. And I can still remember her now. She looked so vulnerable. She had an oxygen mask on. She was unconscious. I don't know how much she was aware of how much she could hear or anything like that. But technically, she was very, very vulnerable, very frail. I was quite shocked. I'd not seen her for 4 years, and I was quite shocked at how much she'd deteriorated. So a whole load of sort of mixed emotions came over me. And I was encouraged to sit on the bed and hold her hand. And that I can still remember to this day. So when I've been sort of processing what's happened in terms of our relationship, what led to the estrangement, etc., etc., I come back to this really precious time. I could feel her hand was so soft, top of her hand. And I could feel, I don't know if it was just muscles twitching, but I felt her acknowledging me, which was so, so calming for me, and felt so lovely. In terms of what was going on in the room and who was there, I'll talk about that in a later video. I literally just want to focus on Mum today and my feelings around being with her. So I told her I loved her. At the end of the day, I always did love Mum, always do love her. And I think when you are faced with something so profound you can't plan for it. And it was almost like everything, all the animosity I had felt, it just went. And I just found being with her in her last moments a hugely profound time. So I didn't have long. So I arrived at 3:30, and the hospital team had already told my sibling that really they wanted to allow her to pass peacefully. Her organs were beginning to fail, so they were going to remove the oxygen, and that would allow her to die peacefully. So she had actually hung on way longer than they thought she would. So I held her hand, and at 4:30, they removed the oxygen, and then I watched my mum slowly fade away. But I told her it was okay to go. And even now, just thinking about it, the privilege I had of being with her at the most crucial time, absolutely, it completely overshadowed anything that had gone before. I think it's had a profound effect on me in so many different ways. The circumstances around her passing were not great, and I will talk about that in future videos in terms of my sibling not alerting me that she'd been admitted to hospital. So she'd been admitted the day before in peri-arrest, and in fact that the evening before, the consultant had said to my sibling, you need to alert family and friends to come and see her to say goodbye. And they hadn't done that. So, and it was really another family member that actually was with my sibling, that encouraged them to allow, I'm being very vague, sorry, this other person to phone me and let me even know that she was dying. I'm just being quite careful because I love my mum. I've come to terms with everything that's happened. There are members of my family that possibly have got a lot more processing to do. So that's why I'm being a little bit cagey in this first video. So she passed, and it was so beautiful. It was very gentle. I'm so happy that I was actually there and that I was given that opportunity. And then afterwards, I had the opportunity of being with her for a short while whilst my sibling went to, because we'd been left in the room as a family with no members of staff there. So my sibling had gone outside to get a member of staff to come and announce her death. I mean, it was very, very obvious she died. Mum had gone. It was the most extraordinary thing. She didn't look like Mum anymore. I physically saw her leave. But then I had the short time afterwards with her. And I was actually reflecting on this today. There were so many things that were not okay around her death and her funeral that really upset me. And this does happen with family estrangement and other siblings, etc. But the one thing I'd not really focused on, which really, really came to light today, was the brain activity after somebody dies, that it's still active for about 7 minutes. I had those 7 minutes. I had that precious time, which was amazing. So I'm truly thankful. So how did I manage going forward? Obviously the circumstances around her being admitted, I had no clue, and my sibling was not forthcoming. So what I did, and I hope this is going to be helpful to other people, I contacted PALS, Patient Advisory Liaison Service, and arranged for a death reflections appointment. I actually didn't do that until later in the year. So she died in the August, and I did it in about the November, when I was much more further down the line. And in fact, I had started counselling again. And it was one of the things that I was discussing in counselling sessions to help me process her death better, to know what had happened in the preceding hours before she died. But I guess I just want to close by saying there is no right or wrong answer here in terms of what you do. No one can really make the decision until you are in that situation. And no one should judge you with any decision that you make around estrangement. You need to protect your mental health. And that really has to be priority. But also at the end of the day, when someone is dying, this is not the time or the place to bring arguments to the table. So it's a question of whether you can manage difficult dynamics. And I'm incredibly proud of myself about the way I conducted myself that day. And I know that my mum was with me, and she was extremely glad that I had come, and it helped her pass over. So I hope this has helped, and I hope it's made you think. And obviously I'd like to hear your stories about how you have managed this incredibly difficult time. Sending you lots of love.